The applause there from members of the public who had waited patiently to see the royal family pass by in what will have been an intensely personal experience for them. This is a narrow, historic road. They will have seen very closely the faces of the Queen's children as they made their way up the Royal Mile, and now watching the vehicles return. For the King, it is a relentless schedule today. He will now meet the First Minister and later politicians here at the Scottish Parliament. And Rhiannon, who is watching this, returning now to the Palace of Holyrood House, the official residence for the monarchy in Scotland.
The King arriving back with the Queen no longer in residence, and it was the final time that we saw Queen Elizabeth II leaving the Palace of Holyrood House, a place where she visited so often, one of many places where it punctuated her annual calendar of official engagements, and one of those many final moments that we're going to see over the coming days. And it was also the first time that we saw the new King and his mother in close proximity since her death on Thursday. Of course, he immediately had to make that journey down to London to carry on those constitutional responsibilities, to immediately take over that position of head of state, and then importantly made the journey back up here to Edinburgh in order to lead his family, lead people here in Scotland in this moment of thanksgiving and reflection. And while they are a family who have been trained, children who have been so well trained by Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, to be there in the public eye, to carry out those official duties, to take part in processions as they did today, there is no doubt that they must have had to rally themselves in order to get through what was a very slow and poignant walk up the Royal Mile. We expected it would take around half an hour. Instead, it was closer to 45 minutes. And the nature of the streets that lead from the Palace of Holyrood House up to St Giles Cathedral, the narrowness of that cobbled road meant that the members of the public were so incredibly close as the archers, the hearse carrying the coffin, and then her 4 children all walking side by side made their way towards that Thanksgiving service. And seeing them all walk shoulder to shoulder was a reminder that yes, one of them has had to take on what he describes as the heavy responsibility of now being our monarch, and yet they are united as 4 siblings. And amongst all of the ceremony and the public occasions, no doubt here at the Palace of Holyrood House, there have been times to come together, to talk and reflect on what has happened so quickly over the last few days.
And the King suggesting today he feels the weight of history in Westminster Hall as he addressed MPs and Lords, and there on the coffin you can see the Crown of Scotland, the oldest surviving set of crown jewels in the British Isles, the ancient crown jewels of England destroyed by Oliver Cromwell. Remade in its current form for King James V of Scotland in 1540, the crown is part of the honours of Scotland. And on the 24th of June 1953, following her coronation at Westminster Abbey, the crown was carried before Queen Elizabeth II in a procession from the Palace of Holyrood House to the High Kirk of St Giles, where she lies in rest now. And subsequently, at every official opening ceremonies of session of the Scottish Parliament, again it is carried before the monarch, including the first in 1999, when she opened the Scottish Parliament, and in 2004, the new building, the new Scottish Parliament building, which is just opposite the Palace of Holyrood House. A vigil kept there, the congregation now able to pay their respects.